My name is Veronica Blakely, and I'm from Tampa, Florida. And I want to thank Glad Tidings as well as Princess Denise for allowing me to come here today to just impart just a little bit of information to you. I have a few questions to ask you. How many of you are sick and tired of being sick and tired? How many of you have woke up in the morning and you felt like you were glued to the bed? You wanted to get up, but you couldn't get up. You knew you had a lot of things to do, but that mindset of, I want to get up, but I can't get up, is a real and true feeling of depression. And it was one that I actually suffered as well. I had a great corporate job. I had experienced many things of success in life, but when it came down to depression, it was something that took me by surprise. Didn't know what it was. All I called it was the blues. Many of you have said you had the blues. Well, sometimes the blues can manifest itself in many ways if you don't identify the fact that you have depression. From depression, the one thing I would like to say is that it's okay. You're not the only one depressed. Studies say that there are 17 million Americans each day who are diagnosed with clinical depression. But of that number, many do not seek the help. And that is the first thing I want to say. Don't be afraid to get the help. Because when I finally realized what was wrong with me, I was glad to know that there was some help also for me. I sought professional help of a psychiatrist. I had been seeing a psychologist, but that wasn't working. I needed to have some medication because I just could not get out of that funk or that blues that I was in. And from the first dose of that medicine that I took, I was finally able to sleep. I no longer had insomnia. I was able to actually function and move on. And in the African American community, many of us really don't want to acknowledge depression because we say to ourselves, oh, that's just life, we'll get over it. Oh, that's just something we deal with every day. And as a result of that, because of many social ills that we face, many of us suffer in silence. And what happens? Some of us actually turn to drugs, alcoholism, or other items that will tear our families apart. But I am thankful to God that I was able to get the help that I needed at the time I needed it. I had always wanted to write this book about depression, but I really didn't know how to capsulize it into the information that I wanted to say, because there's so much about it to be said. Instead of actually focusing on the great negative part of depression, I decided to write what I thought was a correction with direction focus on how to pull yourself out of that blues feeling moment with the help of professional help as well as with the help of spiritual help. And that is when I decided to label the book as God had given it to me. Depression is a thief. The thief is an acronym for time, health, intimacy, energy, fun, because it steals all of that from you. And by the time I had realized that I had lost my friends, didn't know where they had gone, when I lost the fun that I used to have in my life, I had no energy, and I decided that I was going to put pen to paper and put it in a book. I did not want you to be stressed out about reading about, oh, woe is me, and here's somebody else's again talking about depression. But I wanted to actually give what I call correction with direction tips that I do after each chapter so that it will help you and guide you along the way. But the one thing that I would say is that if you go to my website, depressionisathief.com, whether or not you decide to purchase my book, which is an ebook online, or it is also out here in the lobby, the books are only $12, and if you buy 10 and a set, they are only $10. In other words, I knock off $2 for the set. But I have a lot of information on my website so that you will be able to take a free depression test, which is by Psychology Today. You will also be able to look at videos of former athletes such as Herschel Walker and some other former athletes who talk about depression and how they recognized it. Also reports from CNN and other individuals who talked about depression, as well as a blog that I have from Vice President Biden, who talked about depression when he lost his son or he lost a family member, and he understood PTSD, which many of the military personnel are suffering as well. So if you would just stop by the table, you can ask any information that you would like, take one of these cards with you, check my website out. But the one thing I want you to know is that if you are depressed and if you're feeling out of sorts, get the help you need. And this is not an affront to persons in the spiritual faith. Sometimes a person does need to have medical attention. You will also need that spiritual help to get you along the way as well. But don't be afraid to seek the professional help, because that is what is going to make you the better person that you are. And therefore, depression won't have to steal anything from you. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you at the table.